Hi, welcome to A Squirrel Channel. It's been a while since we've recorded a video, and this one's special enough to share. This is a bridge that we're constructing to replace the one that fell down in the snowstorm this winter. This is a good example of method applied to creating your own dreams. Now, the fun part of troubleshooting making something out of thin air is having the right tools and having a plan. So, Brian heard a tree service taking down a cedar a couple days ago. And he went there to see that there was a large tree that they were going to buck up into firewood, and no one wanted it, and he said, wait, don't cut it all. And so these boards right here are 9-footers, 9 plus, and they're just perfect for making this bridge that was in the plan. We first put the platform in, and the ladder, like the pre-bridge bridge to build up on. And there are 6x6s supporting it plumb down into the pond. So we've got a steady working surface. We had this little rowboat a friend lent us, and this little electric motor off of a battery. And it works great for going around this little island as another tool to get this job done. Brian?
So that's the growth rings. They're not super tight like old growth cedar, but there's not a lot of knots in it. A couple. But that's some pretty gorgeous cedar.
Agreed. These pads were here, and there's 2 on the other side of the island as well.
So then we take a piece of cardboard. Well, first we take a piece of PVC pipe and make the arc and put a pencil mark on these that look like those. And then we take a piece of cardboard and match that pencil line from the PVC arc. And then we take the cardboard over to the piece of plywood over there and transfer the template of the
cardboard onto the plywood. See the plywood? Okay.
So now we're going to match this arc to that one, and we're just going to make little pencil marks so that to the eye this one matches that one with the same arc, somewhat level, and make sure it matches the plywood. And then you back up here.
Oh, I'm backing up.
Jigsaw. We'll ride on this plywood and cut this off.
Do you see it happening?
And then we'll go over it with this sandpaper. You know, you think of a piece of sandpaper, well, this thing turns so fast, burns the wood. So they've come up with this kind of segmented pieces of sandpaper so that they don't heat up in mass and it doesn't burn the wood.
It works great.
So I want to go over here
Okay.
and discuss the amazing mechanical solution that came our way from a thinking outside the box acquaintance.
And the fact that we're living in a throwaway society and no one likes to get dirty anymore. What is this? What is this? Do these in fact count? They remind us of a time where these used to be in showrooms of car dealerships because you had to have both a car and a tiller.
So maybe around 1950. Kind of fascinating. These are your thumb controls. They have a sheathed cable, one for each hand. They go down to these differential clutches, one on either side, so you can turn the rototiller at the end of the row. Because this is a bit of a
heavy.
You can see by these handles, it takes a real farmer
with real big hands. This is my
hand
on it.
But come around here, John.
Okay.
So, two-cycle, which is kind of rare. Most of these days are four-stroke, like most lawnmowers. But this is a two-cycle. Not going to go into the difference between the two, but basically two cycles don't have a crankcase full of oil for lubrication. You mix the fuel with oil, and that provides the lubrication. In the two cycle, the four strokes have a bath of oil down there. So anyway, this baby was froze up. So here's what we came up with, was weld a grease fitting onto the end of the spark plug. You know, we drilled the porcelain aspect out. We put that in the spark plug hole, and with a fair amount of pressure with the grease gun, that grease built up in the airspace between the top of the piston and the head, and with some soaking of penetrating fluid, which is a combination of acetone and automatic transmission fluid.
ATF.
It broke through the rust, and my buddy came with a wrench and a cheater bar, and he turned this flywheel aspect while I was pumping grease, and all that grease pressure broke the piston and rings from the cylinder. So
it's worth working on, because this is not a throwaway piece of equipment like the newer builds. So then I remember it just oozed out after that piston shot loose. Did not hold there.
So this is Jenna's field of expertise, the precision technician. We'll go through this and clean out the goobers. This is your float bowl, and it's full of crap, and I'm thinking that this is probably going to go back on and very likely fire up. So this would be your drain. So if you get water built up in the bowl, of course water doesn't burn, so you can just open this up and it actually, this is probably the drain. So this could be a jet. Anyway, back to why this is of interest is these spring times work incredibly well, and this came with a box of a half dozen spares, but this is what they're supposed to be looking like. And I think with this shroud down, somebody probably got their tennis shoe stuck on one of those tines, and the insurance company outlawed the making of these.
Outlaw tiller.
But you
How
know,
was
the
that?
Troy build costs almost $2,000, and this one is superior to that technology.
You want to see it work. Stay tuned.
So here you have the aluminum nose cone, and here's your pull cord. This is not rope, this is steel. And the way this is set up is this is supposed to put these teeth onto here, but it's not activating quite as it's supposed to. It's supposed to suck in during the rotation and then retract. So there's a little spring in here. This thing came with a manual.
Yeah, we do have the book.
And parts are available, but this was pretty fun to find. Here's the fuel and exhaust goes in, and that's the piston, and you just heard the magneto. So that's what creates the spark. No battery. That's as far as we got, but you can see the piston going up and down, and the question is the rings that were locked up on the cylinder wall, if they damaged the cylinder wall, we're going to find out, but that's another day. This is a Fraiser. They're all over the YouTube, old guys running these. But my buddy, I had one of these, and my buddy asked me if I could bring it to our landscaping job, because this would just turn it into a finely graded perfect compared to the top of the line Troy built.
Yeah, this is the time. This is the time to get your ducks in a row for the garden. You're preparing the soil, and this is a great tool to do that task. You know we're into biochar. We're into mineralization of the garden soil, because we want the most nutrient-dense food, and that's my goal this year. And my soil test is going to Logan Labs. I'm going to get a prescription and see what I'm lacking. We haven't had a soil test in about 5 years. I'm really looking forward to seeing how well the soil has stood up, because we're healthy. And knock on wood, we keep eating good, nutrient-dense food. So we're at 14 minutes. Do you think that's a good overview for now, Brian?
I think that's a decent overview.
Yeah, imagine this bridge growing. Well, stay tuned to see our progress. Thanks. yeah, this is the picture of what we're going for here. And the initial drawing. Alright. Thanks for watching. Bye.